This video is sponsored by JumpShotTrainer.com. Perfect your jumper using JumpShotTrainer.com. Their method is proven to increase your shooting accuracy by eliminating resistance from your offhand. You can learn more by visiting the links in the description box below. Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Lee, and let's just get into everything that we gotta talk about today. First up in the news, LeBron James recently said that one of his biggest regrets in life is that he decided to give his eldest son his name, LeBron James Jr. And the reason for this is of course because of the massive amount of pressure that has placed upon his son to live up to his name. When I was younger, I didn't have a dad, so my whole thing was when I was a kid, not only is he going to be a junior, I'm going to do everything that this man didn't do. They're going to experience things that I didn't experience. And it wasn't only LeBron James who was saying things like this about his son, as Sharif O'Neal, son of Shaquille O'Neal, also showed empathy for LeBron James Jr. with a post on Instagram, saying that LeBron Jr. is one of the only people that he can relate to since they both have high expectations placed upon them because they are the sons of NBA legends. However, he also thinks that LeBron James Jr. has it even harder than he does since his dad is still the greatest player in the world currently, and also that he has a name of his father, which adds even more pressure. Can you guys imagine the amount of pressure that this 13-year-old going on 14 has on his shoulders to be great, and not even just to be great, but to be one of the best? Imagine at 13 years old to have publications already proclaiming you as a superstar. Imagine having your games get canceled because some middle-aged man in an MJ jersey is trying to harass your dad at one of your games. Imagine being heckled by the Pillsbury Doughgirl because of who your father is. And the thing about LeBron James Jr. is through all of this, he's been able to take it like a champ. He's handled it so well. Never once have you heard anything negative about LeBron James Jr. come out at all. During his games, he's not making it about him or his father. He's just going out there and playing. And by the way, he is actually extremely good at basketball for his age, to no one's surprise really. And that is where a lot of the hype comes in and expectations. And that's what I want to talk about briefly here. Even though I think we all know the odds are heavily in his favor that he will make it to the NBA in the next 4 to 5 years, to have expectations on him to live up to the legendary legacy that his dad is still creating isn't fair whatsoever. I mean, we'd be asking LeBron James Jr. to put his name in the conversation one day as the greatest to ever play the game, right up there with his dad and Michael Jordan. Take a look at a player like Austin Rivers. Coming out of college, he was one of the more hyped up players in that draft class because of who his father was, and his father, Doc Rivers, was a solid NBA player, but he only made the All-Star team one time, was best known for just being a great defensive guard, didn't come close to the caliber of player that LeBron James is. And even Austin Rivers, who is a more than serviceable backup player in the league right now, is considered by many to be a letdown compared to what his father was in the NBA. So with that in mind, once again, imagine the microscope that LeBron James Jr. will be under once he makes it to the league, and when people really start comparing him to his father, saying things like, at this stage of his career, LeBron James was already doing this, or he was so much better at this, he had already accomplished that. It'll get to the point where even if LeBron James Jr. makes the All-Star team, makes 2 All-Star teams, makes 3 All-Star teams in his career because of his name and who his father was, even though he was a really good NBA player, LeBron James Jr. will be considered by many to be a disappointment. Next up in the news, Kevin Durant is still out here snapping at fans and the media, as after his whole spat with CJ McCollum and getting into it with a couple of fans on Instagram and Twitter so far this summer, Kevin Durant had this to say about how the media is trying to portray him yesterday.
I'm angry, I'm insecure, or sensitive. Tell me what the real problem is, because every time I say something, I go about my business, and when I say something, House of Highlights and Bleacher Report gas y'all up and y'all run with it, and as soon as I say something back, I'm the sensitive one. I mean, I know y'all trying to make me look crazy and discredit me and strip me of my credibility, but I see what you're doing. but I'm gonna still keep standing.
So his argument basically is, because I don't let people get away with saying whatever they want to me, and I clap back online when I catch these people saying these things, I'm being sensitive. Because I stick up for myself, I'm being sensitive. I'll touch on that in a second, but Dirk Nowitzki, an NBA legend himself of course, had a very different stance on this whole Kevin Durant situation yesterday. As in an interview on the radio, he basically came out and called Kevin Durant sensitive. I just think overall in general, I don't know why I would get engaged with the fans talking trash. I actually like having fun with it. I get hit up on Twitter every now and then in my mentions. People say, you're old, go away, retire. To me, it's fun. You're not supposed to be sensitive about it. That's how I look at it. I'm not sure why Katie feels that he needs to respond to some of this stuff, because Twitter is just a place for tough guys and a lot of hate. I take it with a smile on my face. You can't take yourself too seriously. And one of my favorite YouTubers to watch actually is Casey Neistat. I enjoy the guy's content and I like his story. I like where he came from. And actually in one of his recent videos, he wasn't of course talking about Kevin Durant, but he said something that describes Kevin Durant's situation perfectly.
It's easy to like brush off bad YouTube comments. Like, people make fun of you, people tell you your videos suck, people say unsub because I didn't, all that stuff. It just rolls off your shoulder when you've made a bunch of videos and have been seeing it for years. There's only one kind of comment that penetrates, that like, and those are the comments that confirm your worst suspicions. Those are the ones that that actually speak the truth.
Remember that Kevin Durant is the guy that didn't come out of his room for a week after he made his decision to join the Golden State Warriors. He knows what he did, and he knew that people were going to hate him for what he did. And he couldn't stand the thought of people hating him. He was sensitive back then. Kevin Durant, from the beginning, has always been sensitive. But back then, the thing was, he was still seen as the nice guy, one of the good guys in the NBA, someone that everyone rooted for. No one had any reason to hate Kevin Durant. The man rarely ever got technical fouls. You didn't see him getting ejections, and he sure as heck wasn't trying to get into fights with other NBA players either. And since then, because of this, he has tried to change. He has tried to put on a mask to hide who he really is, where he acts all tough and like nothing bothers him. Anything people say, it doesn't bother him because he doesn't care about the opinions of other people, so he wants us to believe. He puts on an act, but deep down, he is still the exact same person that he has always been. Even though he tries to tell himself otherwise, he still cares very much about the opinions of others and how he is viewed in the public. Once again, this is the same man that locked himself in his room for a whole week. Why on earth would someone who doesn't care about others' opinions do something like that? Why on earth would someone who doesn't care about others' opinions have to make a fake Twitter account to defend himself online? And when he gets caught with a fake Twitter account, what does he do? He tries to prove once again that he is tough. So now, instead of hiding behind fake names, he does it using his own name. This guy still has trigger points. There are things that you can say to him, buttons you can press that hit him right here, that pierce through his soul, because they remind him of the guy that he's trying to convince himself that he no longer is. The man is sensitive about being sensitive. And for what will be our final story of the day, Kyle Lowry has been heard from for the first time ever since the Toronto Raptors decided to trade away his best friend in DeMar DeRozan. As during a Team USA practice yesterday, Kyle Lowry was asked a couple of questions about his opinions on the trade, and the man basically refused to answer any of them. He was dodging those questions left and right. Take a look.
Kyle, what was your reaction last week when you found out that DeMar was being traded?
It's been a great week for USA basketball. You know, for me, you know, being out here with these guys and hanging out and, you know, getting to talk and hang out with these guys and hanging out with DeMar and all the guys, John, James, and Kyrie, all those guys. It's been fun.
Relationship with Kawhi?
No.
Going back? No.
I know him, you know, mutual respect.
Have you spoken to him since the deal with LeBron was signed?
Probably talk. I think so. I don't know.
To Kawhi?
I don't know.
You don't know if you spoke to him?
No.
What do you mean?
I don't know if I've spoken to him.
Are you not sure?
No, I'm not sure. No. He's not here, so I haven't spoken to him.
While I do wish that Kyle Lowry spoke on this a little bit because I think it would be extremely interesting to see what he had to say, I can't be mad at him for not talking about it. There's a time and place for everything, and I don't think this was the time or place for Kyle Lowry to talk about DeMar DeRozan getting traded for Kawhi Leonard. So Kyle Lowry, to me, handled that extremely well. And I do want to say, though, that this has to be extremely uncomfortable for Kyle Lowry. For the organization he's on to trade his best friend, this is kind of like if you were the only child and your parents were to get divorced and you had to choose between the two parents. You had to pick a side. And then what makes it even more awkward is Kawhi Leonard is the reason that his parents aren't together anymore, and Kawhi Leonard in this situation is kind of like the stepmom or the stepdad, where Kyle Lowry is going to resent him because it's because of him that his best friend got traded away from the team. Because if you think about it, if Kawhi Leonard never asked for a trade from the San Antonio Spurs, DeMar DeRozan never gets traded for Kawhi Leonard. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if the two of them can have any type of chemistry on the court, or if Kyle Lowry is going to hold this as a grudge against Kawhi Leonard. Anyways, that is gonna do it for everything that we gotta talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smack that sub button and hit the bell as well so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA. But thank you once again for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, and until next time, I am out of here. Peace!